Hi, I'm Jeff Sturgis from Whitetail Habitat Solutions, and I wanted to talk about the potential for installing some switchgrass on your land and really the power of switchgrass and what it really means, what it does, and how it contributes to not only whitetails, but all forms of wildlife on your property. What's the difference between switchgrass and big bluestem, little bluestem, other grasses, native grasses out there? Is switchgrass is the one grass that after a heavy winter can still be standing up. And so we have had bad winters. Right now we have areas of crust. It's March 23rd right now. We have areas of crust that are still a foot deep or more, and you have to kick through them to get down. So when you have all that layered crust on top of any grass, you know, especially a grass that's like this, it's going to tip over. What's the beauty of switchgrass? All this was level snow at some point during the winter time, but look at all these little holes and caves and humps back here, all this switchgrass. Plenty of places for rabbits and pheasant to hide. We kicked up a pheasant right over here the other day. It's because we had these switchgrass clusters right here. So it maintains its integrity, especially after the snow and crust is gone. All this stands right back up. Again, this was completely flat with ice and crust right here. Switchgrass is a form of base cover. If you mix big bluestem, little bluestem, Indian grass, switchgrass together, what ends up happening is during the fall, late fall and into the winter, that switchgrass lays down, or that entire field lays down. The switchgrass might be the only thing standing, but if it's mixed with other grasses, it's not diversity, it's all grass. Grass is grass. The problem is it lays down the rest of the field and there's no cover. So we want solid strips of switchgrass. We have switchgrass that extends for about 150 yards behind Dylan and another 100 yards behind myself. So it's a very long switchgrass area. We have switchgrass for solid cover for rabbits and pheasant. It actually aids for nesting turkeys. So down along this edge, we have hardwood regeneration cuttings. The switchgrass goes up to that. We have pollinator blend strips in here, pollinators for birds, butterflies, bees. The pheasant, the rabbits, the deer love those pollinator blends. They love that early successional growth with flowers. And so I want to have solid switchgrass. Then we choose to have pollinator strips alongside. Then we have hardwood regeneration cuttings alongside. We have our rabbit huts down here. We build rabbit huts for the deer. So the switchgrass is kind of the glue that holds it all together. I refer to it as a base cover. A base cover can be switchgrass, but not any other grass, unless you get down into southern Iowa, Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, southern Illinois, southern Indiana. You start to get into those grasses that can actually, like a big bluestem, that can stand up because you have hardly any snow during the winter time. Switchgrass is thicker, stronger than any other grass. And so it makes that base cover. And so if I take a field like this, let's say this was square, I'd want switchgrass all the way around it, 30, 40, 50 feet wide. And then in that 10 acres, I'd want pockets of switch, quarter acre, half acre in size, totaling no more than 40, 50% of the area. And then the rest of the area, I want pollinators, I want briars, I want hardwood regeneration, I want woody shrub tips, so that I have that ultimate diversity in there that supports all wildlife. The pollinator blend is great for birds, butterflies, bees. We have apple trees around here. And that regen line right here, we have the switchgrass hitting the shrub and hardwood regeneration line. That's perfect for turkey nesting. So I hope it makes sense. The switchgrass is the glue that holds it all together. So we have all these great quality switchgrass, but it's very easy to actually plant. You have to maintain it though, and you have to follow the steps. Take this open field here, we killed it 3 times, so it was down to the soil. Then we broadcast switchgrass in the spring. The switchgrass took hold on bare soil, it grows. We use a soft seed in our blends. We have only 10% hard seed. Hard seed switchgrass takes about a year to germinate. So we use soft seed in our own blends, WHS Wildlife blends. But when we're doing that, we put that soft seed down, you get germination right away. You want to get that seed down sometime in May, and then we're watching it. If we have weeds, we're coming in mowing in July, down to the height of the switchgrass. You find that switchgrass in there. If the weeds are 2 feet high, the switchgrass is a foot high, you mow down to a foot high. That allows the sunlight to come into that switch, and eventually the switch wins. Switchgrass outpaces everything else. You can even see in this strand right here, this blade that's by Dylan right here. Look how tall this one is from last year. Sitting about 6 feet up, right up into here. And we have a lot of that. This switchgrass field is now, this will be the 4th season going into it. And so we've let this switchgrass go the last couple of years. It gets 6 to 7 feet tall, and it provides that base. We're making sure we put simazine on before spring green up. That doesn't hurt the switchgrass seed. We're putting the switchgrass seed down after a lot of times we get a spraying of 1 pint per acre of 2,4-D, 2 quarts per acre of glyphosate. We're hitting it again with glyphosate. And then we're mowing in July as needed. We're hitting it with simazine the following spring, mowing the second year 1 to 3 times depending on weeds. Don't ever give up on your switchgrass. Unless it's that hard seed that won't germinate for a year, the switchgrass will germinate. It will do very well. So it'll grow. You just have to maintain it. One of the death of all switchgrass is shade competition, weed competition. If you mow, you don't have that problem. You're burning switchgrass if you have woody rootstock in here, shrubs, trees that are growing in it. But if you burn a weedy mix with switch, you're just gonna get that same weedy mix back. It's not like the burning favors switch or not. So mowing is a great way. You have to spray some chemicals on it. Now, if we just threw switchgrass out here in the field and just kept mowing over and over again 3 times per year for about 3 years, we'd have some switchgrass out here. It might be 30%, 40%. We'd waste a lot of seed. We'd have weeds taking over areas. We wouldn't have that solid switchgrass you need for whitetails, wildlife, pheasants, rabbits to actually hide in or be surrounded by and protected by, but we'd have some switchgrass out here. I don't consider that a success. I want to have solid switchgrass. I want to have solid pollinator blend out here. You never want to mix the two together. You just plant them alongside. I want that hardwood regeneration of shrubs down there. Like I said, we add the rabbit huts. And then we have that perfect combination of whitetail and wildlife habitat. And it was all created through the power of switchgrass.